Okay. So we are live. That's interesting. This is a feature on YouTube that lets you go live right away. I've never used this feature before. It looks very interesting, but it's really simple. I was going to do it earlier today, but I never used it before, so I wasn't going to chance it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let's tweak this a little bit. And it puts the chat right here, and it puts the video right in the middle. And then I can see how long I'm going. Oh, this is great, man. Has a timer right there. Let you know how many people was in the actual chat, how many likes you got. This is good stuff right here, man. Good stuff. I don't even know why they have the Hangouts option after this. I ain't gonna be using the Hangouts option no more. This seems, I mean, right to the point. All right. So, I'll throw HDR on. Why not? Why not? All right. This should be good. All right, family. Shalom. Thank y'all for joining me. This is Divine Prospect of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. Salute to the family out there. Thank y'all for joining in to this live stream. So family. What is going on? So let's get a couple of updates on some things and chat with y'all a little bit and be out your way. All right. So first and foremost, family, thank you for those who came out to the lecture yesterday on the Sabbath. Thank you to y'all who have tuned in to the live stream. Now, I apologize for the poor visual quality. I had left my webcam, the one I'm on right now, I left this one at home. So I had to use the built-in webcam in my laptop. And man, it wasn't really good, man. It wasn't really good. So you couldn't see the screen at all, anything like that. Now, if you'll go back to some of my previous lectures, a lot of the recent ones that I live streamed, it looked really good, and you can even see the screen. This time, I didn't bring my camera, like my video camera, my camcorder. I forgot my webcam, and I had to use the built-in webcam in my laptop, so the quality wasn't that great, but the audio is good. So I may do that presentation again in a session like this, so y'all can see the slides. But if y'all was able to listen to the audio at least, it's a lot of good information. And again, my objective was just to give you all the tools to go back and research for yourself, right? So you'll go back and check that out. It's the video before this one. And it's called Utilizing Textual and Historical, using textual and historical analysis or analyses to determine the Hebraic New Testament message. And it was a primer edition, right? So the objective was just to introduce or prepare you for further study into that subject matter. And I wanted to give some good information so you guys can be able to see the Brit Hadashah with a new lens and be able to understand the historical essence of it. And also understand how the Christological element has developed over time. You know, when I do the full version, I go into the church fathers, I go into more history. We examine various manuscripts from different text type families. And I just give you more sources and stuff like that. So it's really just more details. We go more into the text as well. We look at nuances, anomalies in the text, textual variants, and the implication of such. You know, we get real deep into it. And I do similar studies with the Torah and the rest of the Tanakh as well. So nothing's off the table when it comes to this type of study. But the objective is to reconstruct the actual cultural element and historical element behind what we have been given today, right? Even going to various literary devices that's used in the text, etc., for you to understand what's going on. So it's a really, really in-depth, you know, study. And for me to present it, I'd have to do it in a series, right? Because I'm sitting on so much information and so much research that I want to get it all out. you know what I'm saying, at some point so that everybody can have it. But it's going to take some time because, you know, I have a lot of things going on, and, you know, I got to juggle several things. But I'm going to do my best to get everything out for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So let me give a couple of shout outs. Shout out to Jennifer M. Shout out to Kiefer, Aviel, Ben Yisrael. Shout out to Malak Lorenzo Amadis. Shout out to the Most High Child, Shah Yarala Day Second, Mona Breakley, B. Banks, Nisi's Pieces, Lamuel Herve, Mr. Casanova, Rhonda Strong, DJ Souped, Ari Israel, Yashab Awam, Yashar Allah, Quincy Claiborne. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. Share this link. Let's get some more people up in here. People always ask me what information I'm going to share tonight. I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all ask some questions. I may find something random, throw up. You never know how it goes down. This is why, you know, when you go to the Saturday Night Lives and the Freestyle Fridays, it's whatever's on the table at the moment. That's what we talk about. That's what I share. And you'll never know what I have cooking in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? But I like to first get over a lot of the formalities and just go over a couple things and just to give you guys some updates. All right. So I didn't go live stream yesterday. I took a nap, overslept a little bit. When I woke up, I needed to finish my presentation Friday evening. So I worked on that to be prepared for the Sabbath for Saturday because I wanted everything done before the sun rises, which I was able to accomplish. Praise Yah. And do the presentation. So I said, you know, I'll go live tonight no matter what, because it's like people ask about this every week, man. You know, so I'm gonna try to give y'all a session every week. I have no choice. y'all will not let me not give y'all a session every week. So I'm gonna have to give y'all a session every week. I'm gonna try to do it. I can't promise I'm gonna do it every week, but I'm gonna do my best. Because for some reason, y'all like it real, raw, uncut. Y'all like interaction and everything. So I got to give y'all what y'all want. And y'all support. You know what I'm saying? Y'all share the link. Y'all comment. Y'all donate. I mean, y'all do everything that you can to keep this going. So with that, I mean, I want to give back to y'all at all times. All right. Share this link, family. Share this link. Let's get some more people in the building. All right. So we go in, get started. Shout out to Pieces of Me. Shout out to the Black F1. Shout out to Isaiah Ban Yahawada. Shout out to Keith Wharton. Appreciate y'all for jumping in and watching this. NCSP says, yeah, checking for my notifications. Like, and I love it, man. I thank y'all for this, man. You know, I love serving y'all. You know what I mean? I love being here for y'all. And this new feature on YouTube now, man, it's excellent, man. I love it. I love it for real, man. Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second. Gotta look at my other cell phone. All right, hold on. All right, hold on. All right. Sorry about that, family. Shout out to PIP King. All right. So let's get started. All right. So finish I was talking in regards to the lecture on yesterday. So what I did was I went and I gave some further additional insight into the background behind the text, so people can understand the text better, understand the composition of the text better, the nuances in the text, the circumstances that the text surrounded, things like that. So I wanted to give y'all some backdrop information. No, DJ Soup, I do not buy iPhones. It's not an iPhone. Right. Oops. See, you made me drop it. Thinking about an iPhone. I don't buy iPhones. This is a company issued work phone. All right. It's a cheap LG, Artisto, I think it is, or Aristo, something like that. But nah, I don't bother. Now, I was very tempted to get that iPhone X, but I had already gotten my phone, my LG V30. And the reason why I got this LG V30 was because I got a $500 rebate towards buying a second phone, I got this. Where is it at? Oh, I got this. They sent me this for free. See this? This is, see that? The Google Daydream View. This retails for like $100. They sent this to me for free. I got this for free just for getting the phone. And I mean, I used it maybe twice. It's neat, but it's not something that you're gonna use every day. I mean, this VR headset, I'm not gonna use that every day. You know. Also, they gave me a 2nd year free warranty on top of the current warranty that I have. And they gave me something else for free. They gave me like 4 free things. I got a free hat and some other stuff. They just gave me a whole bunch of free stuff. So I was like, hey, I can't beat that. Oh, and a tablet. Got a free tablet. Where is that? Right here. Got this tablet. See that? Has this snap-on battery pack that has stereo speakers on it. It also has a USB port right here. And it's a 4400 mAh battery pack. And you just clip it onto the back of the tablet. This tablet is it's like razor thin, right? It's not too bad. I mean, I don't like the specs on it. But that's another conversation. This is not the channel for that, but I'm just sharing that with y'all anyway. So anyway, okay, no problem, a lot. I'm gonna play your joint in a second. After I finish speaking, I'm gonna play the joint that you did do in a second. All right. DJ Soup is crazy. All right. Mr. Casanova is funny. All right. So anyway, so the objective of that lecture was just to equip people to research the text better, understand the composition of the text, the nuances of the text, the circumstances surrounding the text. So that way, when you read it again, you can see it from new eyes, all right? And be able to understand what's going on behind the scenes. Because a lot of times when we jump into the text, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know how to dissect it and, you know, put it back together so that way we can understand what we're reading and give us more context, all right? Or we can put the narrative in a better context, all right? So you'll go back and check out the video before this one. It was a pretty good lecture. Like I said, again, I apologize for the quality, but next time I will remember to bring this cam so that way y'all get the good stuff, all right? I was gonna take the video down, but people begged me to keep it up. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll keep it up. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just gonna live stream it and that's it. But because people asked me to keep it up, I said, I'm gonna keep it up for y'all. I'm gonna keep it up for y'all. All right. So you'll go back and check it out, man. Shout out to Titans TV in the building. Shout out to Mr. Sydney 15. Appreciate y'all for jumping in. Hope y'all enjoying the live stream so far. All right. So now what I want to do next is I want to play a track by Malak Lorenzo. All right. The brother Malak Lorenzo Amadis. He made a track for Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. I want y'all to hear it. So let me go ahead and play it for y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. All right.
Who am I? Who am I? Who the
Check it out, man. It's a fire track.
Where am I? I don't know. Where am I going? Trying to understand. Hey. So on my intellect, simply is enough to invest in your future. Fully examine the text, using the exegesis method to reckon, extracting the author's message to his audience. We have to consider political stresses under a different regime. Requires a consensus, but our objective is to be objective. Tearing down dogma and all its records word, running towards perfection. Autonomous mindsets, get out what you put in, including your assets. We're building a nation under Yah's authority. Thou shalt not have no mighty ones before thee. True descendants of the northern tribes, not conservative or liberal, but in between the lines. In the middle, in vitro, in vivo, scientific methods used to produce, you know, Kingdom Harbinger is highly recommended. Yo, pull it up on the YouTube search engine, type in DivineProspect, click the video and learn. Get your paper and pens out, let the spirit discern. You earned it. That's y'all speaking through the music. He knows your spiritual journey been rugged, partially foolish. Now you're at a point you're ready to start over, ready to approach the text.
Ready to all dogma. RBG, RBG, red, black, and green.
Development, empowering our people in need, providing local services to all who broke the siege. RBG,
RBG, RBG, red, black, and green.
Development, empowering our people in need. Should you need support, hit up Kingdom Harvest Ministries. Don't you know RBG is me? Most High God knows what you need. Don't stand there, come in and see. Don't you know RBG is? Don't you know RBG is me? Most High God knows what you need. No charge, we'll dish it out for free. At Kingdom
Harbinger Ministries. All right, peace and shalom, family. This is Divine Prospect of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. Thank you guys for listening. So again, my major premise is to show you guys that justice is something that is highly desired in the eyes of the Most High. Injustice is something that he frowns upon. And when you look at the history of ancient Israel, the reason why the nation fell is not only because they broke the mitzvot, it's because of their lack of tzedek, their lack of being righteous, the lack of judgment that they are, excuse me, not judgment, but justice that required judgment that the Most High had delegated to them, because they were given judgment authority in the earth to do it first amongst their community and then later on eventually to the rest of the world. But I love you guys. I thank you. I appreciate you for being on the panel. Peace. Shalom, family. Cool. That was fire, man. It's really good. Really good track, man. I appreciate the brother for putting that together. I enjoyed it. Hope y'all enjoyed it too. I'm gonna throw a video up with it, so that way y'all can check it out for yourselves. All right. So shout out to Malak Lorenzo for putting that track together. So let me go over something else real quick. I'm gonna play a snippet from this. Hold on. I'm gonna play a snippet from this teleconference. Let me know if y'all like it. If so, I'll go ahead and post it on the channel. I know I wanted to do it, but it's like 2 hours long. But I'm gonna play for y'all a snippet. Y'all let me know what y'all think. All right. So let's touch on some other stuff real quick. All right. Shout out to Navia Yasharal. Shout out to Jacob Paris. Shout out to Ari Israel. Shout out to Danita Israel. Shir Yashub C. Appreciate that. Mr. Casanova said, I still need to look up what harbinger means. So a harbinger is an individual that goes before an army or before a king to announce their arrival and to make preparations for their arrival. All right. So that's what a harbinger is. You know what I'm saying? So our objective here is to announce the arrival of the Most High's kingdom that will be here on the earth soon, and to make preparations for that kingdom to come here. You know what I'm saying? And that is getting his people ready. So we're not sitting around waiting to do anything. You know what I mean? We're actually actively getting things accomplished, because through autonomy, can we be the people that's without spot, without blemish, that is not compromising with this Babylonian system. And we can be set apart. So when that way, when the Most High returns, he can receive us unto himself. You know what I mean? So there's work that we got to put in now and helping our community to become autonomous. You know what I'm saying? We have to install culture. We have to be able to form a real community, so that way we can achieve autonomy. And in doing so, we could be unblemished and unstained from this world. And we can patronize one another for our existence and our survival. We can own our own culture, our own understanding of who we are. We can share it with our children, be able to preserve our capability to do so, and be able to leave a legacy behind in our absence. You know what I'm saying? So we're that's pretty much what we're founded on, you know, teaching people how to be autonomous, so that way they won't have to be wholly dependent on this system. You know what I'm saying? Because when the judgments reign and the system collapses, you know, we want to be unaffected. You know what I mean? Because we've learned to do for self and to work with each other. You know what I mean? So hopefully that helps to clear that up. All right. Keontae Gates says, Shalom fam, how long you been on? I just woke up. Not too long. It's saying about 20 minutes. about 20 minutes. But I'm glad there's a timer now, so I know how long my sessions are, and I know how to cut them off. And I would love to have like times for everything that I do, because I could be able to follow and I could be able to not make it too lengthy. You know what I'm saying? Even though y'all rock with me for hours, man, I don't want to really keep y'all for as long as, you know, because I'll be on here talking forever. You know what I'm saying? But I say to people all the time, you know, I don't mind listening to somebody as long as what they're speaking has substance. You know what I'm saying? Because I can never get enough knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know what I mean? So I try to be that same fountain for other people. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Mona Breakley. Thank you, sis, for the donation. For anybody else that wants to donate, you'll look down below the chat. You'll see your channel name. It'll say something. And then underneath that, you'll see a smiley face. And to the right of that is a super chat button. You can click on that. Click on the blue super chat button, and you can do a direct donation to the ministry right from there. All right. If there's any needs or anything that people need, email us. We're getting through all your emails, family. There's a lot that comes in. So if you didn't get a response from us yet, just give us some time. We're trying to get through all of them in the order that we've received them, but we're going to do our best to get back to you ASAP. All right. So I appreciate y'all for the emails, for the support, for the donations, for everything you do. And that's why I'm here for y'all. Thank you for that. Shout out to Melanin Rich Nagash, Shalom. Melanin Rich Nagash just donated. I think they Melanin, are you in the UK? Hit one if you're in the UK. Hit one if you're in the UK. That's dope. Appreciate that. Thank you for the donation. Truly appreciate that. We at Kingdom Harbinger Ministries truly appreciate that. And we're going to use that for resource to help build up the community. All right. Melanin Rich Nagash put a 10. Oh, okay. Yeah, 1. Shout out to in the UK, man. Titans TV in the building. Melanin Rich Nagash in the building. UK, man. UK. So B-Bank said, dude, please do another breakdown on virgin birth argument and the alpha omega idiom from the manuscripts. Please. Seems Israel sending some wrong info out there. All right. So I'll touch on the virgin birth again. I have material on my channel that deals with the virgin birth. I have, even in the lecture that I did yesterday, I talk about the virgin birth in there. All right. And I go into the various traditions and stuff like that. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Hope you all definitely enjoyed that. Let me see. Seems in the alpha omega idiom. Oh, in the book of Revelation. I think you're talking about the book of Revelation. I went over that before. But I'll probably go over that again in more detail so that y'all can understand what that is. It's also, people also use the aleph tav, the et, to direct object marker in Hebrew. Grammatically in Hebrew is the direct object marker. Some people say that the aleph tav is Jesus or Yahusha, something like that. And I'm like, man, that's weak exegesis. But people do it anyway. You understand what I'm saying? Because they don't understand the language. So shout out to Quincy Claiborne for the donation. I appreciate that. King, that's my dude right there, man. Quincy, good brother, man. He's a great support system for this ministry, great support system at HCA. Always keeps me encouraged. You know what I mean? Everything that I share, he takes in. You know, that brother has been powerful before I met him, and he's getting better, man. He's getting better. So shout out to Quincy. I appreciate that, King. Send something to you. Yeah, it's okay, Melanin. I mean, whenever y'all can send something, cool. You know, there's no demand on y'all to do it. I'm not threatening to shut, you know, the live streams down or what I put out there because nobody donates. You know, the fact that y'all are on here, man, is great, man. It's great. And I appreciate anything that y'all can give. You know, thank y'all for that. I appreciate that. DJ Shoes, I remember you talking about Genesis. I wanted to know why in chapter 1 of Genesis it says, let us make men in our image. And chapter 2 says, yo, hey, Wafe. All right. So, reading what Gary Blythe says. Kiefer said you buffered like 5 times just a few seconds ago, for a few seconds each. Sorry about that. It probably is skipping a little bit. Yeah, I see it. I see it glitching. I see it glitching. Hold on. I hope this doesn't kick me off, but let me see if I can switch over for a second. Hold on. Try to switch over for a second. Hope this don't kick me off. It looks like we still live. Hit 1 if we still live. Hit 1 if we still live, family. Hit 1 if we're still live. All right, hit 1 if it's still live. I don't know if this is any better. Looks like it's still glitching a little bit. All right, we're still on? Cool, cool, cool. All right. Man, it's a lot of y'all up in here. Okay. Shout out to Keith Wharton. Shout out to who else I see? Tanja Rude, Kalila Yisrael, Sharad Owens, Love Yaz Kalis. Glory be to the Most High forever. That's an interesting name right there. Shout out to Tone Red. I think I got everybody. If y'all want to shout out, hit 2. If you want to shout out. So my Kalila says she sees me clearly. Just pausing all the time. Jacob says, is it glitching? Hit 2 if it's good. Hit 3 if it's glitching. 2 if it's good. 3 if it's glitching. 2 if it's good. 3 if it's glitching. Yo, Mr. Castro said, we trying to get this knowledge. I got church in the morning. Go spread this info. Okay, 2. So y'all saying it's good. All right, let's keep going. All right. Oh yeah. I don't know what that is, Tone. You got it. I think I remember I seen you inbox me, but you just remind me what it is. Shout out to Renee Futrell. Shout out to Danita Israel. You know I'm shouting all y'all out. The world needs to know who's supporting this, man. So shout out to all of y'all, man. Shout out to Yalan Israel as well. So let me go back to answering this question, right? So who is the let us? And the let us there, as we read it, like when we read bara Elohim, being that it's not grammatically correct in the Hebrew, because the verb needs to meet or needs to compare to the subject noun in person and number. It is a collective noun, right? The Elohim is a singular collective noun. When we see the let us make man, there's a lot of different takes on that. Like, for example, Philo of Alexandria said that was the logos that the image was made after of. You know what I'm saying? That the logos was some secondary entity that the Most High created man in the image of. Some people say it's the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit talking amongst themselves. And those are people that believe in the Trinity. They subscribe to that. But my perspective is that is the divine counsel, right? The divine counsel is there. And let's get some scripture for that, right? Now, the only thing about this, I don't know if I can share my screen. See, it won't let me share my screen. Damn, that's whack. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, family, it won't let me share my screen. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna use this again if it's not gonna let me share my screen. Yeah, this is not good, family. I can't share my screen. Well, anyway, I'm not gonna end the session. Let me just continue. I'm gonna continue. I want you to go to Job. Let's go to the book of Job so we can see what it is that Divine is talking about, right? So I want you to go to Job chapter 38, starting at verse 4, okay? Job chapter 38, starting at verse 4. It says, hold on. It says, where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who set its measurements, since you know? Or who stretched the line on it? On what were its bases sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together and all the Ben Elohim shouted for joy. Wait a second. He's laying the foundations. He's setting the measurements. He's sinking the bases. And he's laying the cornerstone. While he's doing these works, the Ben Elohim shouted for joy. So there were other entities there that was witnessing the work that Yah was performing, or El Elyon was performing, when he was putting together the heavens and the earth. Very interesting. So now we get to a part of the text and where he decides to shape man into his image. Let us make man. He's speaking as in a singular collective noun sense. And it's the council that's speaking as a whole in agreement with the Most High. Right? So if we go to Job chapter 38, it says, Benran Yahad Kokeb Boker Why Yariu Kal B'nei Elohim, right? So Kal B'nei Elohim is all the sons of Elohim, all the sons of the power. They were there. So they were there when the earth was being laid, shape, form, fashion. And if they was there before the earth was formed in the state that it is now, they were also there when the animals were brought forth and when man was being formulated. So the let us is the council that is speaking in unison with the one who is the creator that presides over the council as things were being shaped, formed, and function. Okay? So the image and the likeness is the reflection of the character of Yah, as a reflection of the essence of Yah put into flesh, right? Because man's body is of the dust of the earth, but what is in man is the immaterial. What is in man is the supernatural. That is what's reflecting Yah. And all the body does is house the immaterial that reflects Yah. So understanding the divine counsel, we understand who or what was speaking, right? When we see things like let us, when we see things like bara Elohim, he created Elohim, which in Hebrew would be Elohim, and he created, which we know is not grammatically correct in Hebrew, right? But it's speaking as a singular collective noun, such as team. Team is a singular collective noun. Corporation is a singular collective noun. Okay, things of that nature, right? All right, so let's see. So Gary Blai says, so what are the names of the council members? Well, according to the Hebraic literature, the Tanakh, we don't really have the names of the council members, okay? We know other entities that are mentioned in the text, but those other entities that are mentioned in the text, you know, we see them in other texts, like for example, in Ugarit, right? So in Rosh Shamra, which is the modern day name of the site, which the excavations for Ugarit was made, they uncovered tablets, and it was tablets on various things. But if you look at the tablets in regards to the Baal cycle, you'll see several entities mentioned in there, right? And any of the mythological texts, you'll see several entities mentioned in there, right? So you have Anat that you'll find in there, Asherah that you find in there, Mut you'll find in there, Yam you'll find in there, Baal Hadad you'll find in there, El you'll find in there. So you'll see all these other entities. And councils were being called between El, who presided over the councils, and these other entities. And some of these entities, like Baal, we'll see there in the Hebrew text, in the Tanakh. You understand what I'm saying? We also see Asherah, who is believed to be the consort of Yod He Wafe, or in the Ugaritic text, the consort of El. All right. Now, Mut and Yam is not mentioned as entities in the text. Mut, we know, goes back to the Hebrew root meaning death, and Yam, which we go to the Hebrew word meaning sea. So to know who are the council members, you don't get that detailed information in the actual Tanakh itself. But if you do comparative cultural studies and look at texts such as the Ugaritic text, you'll be able to tell, or you'll be able to assume or speculate who are taking up those seats, all right, in that particular council. Shout out to Tandra Rude. Thank you, sis, for the donation. I truly appreciate that. Truly appreciate the donation. Thank you for that. So in regards to what Gary's saying, various societies in ancient civilizations had their own councils. Sumerians had their council. The Babylonians had their council. The Assyrians had their council. The Egyptians had their council. The Hittites had their council. The Greeks had their council. So this concept of henotheism is unique when it comes to the Hebraic text, because the one that presides over the council can never be dethroned, can never be overtaken, like what could happen in other cultures. Okay, the presider over the throne, which is El Elyon, the Most High, is steadfast, is established. can never be moved, can never be shaken, can never be deterred, and is always ruling and reigning and sovereign. All right. Shout out to Snare Master for the donation. Thank you for that. I truly appreciate it. Thank you guys for all the donations on tonight. Thank you. I know that you guys had a surplus because y'all not following Christmas. So y'all definitely donated to the ministry. So I truly appreciate that. I know if y'all was following Christmas, y'all won't have no funds right now to donate. But out of the generous and the kindness of your hearts, you're able to open up and donate to the ministry. So I thank the Most High for giving us the truth, so that way we're not celebrating Christmas and we can give to those who we're knowing is actually helping build our community. So I appreciate that, family. Thank you for the donations. All right. I just saved a lot of money on holidays by switching over to Yah. I'm gonna have a T-shirt that says that. I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says that. But anyway, so hopefully that begins to answer your question. I have a lecture set up for the Divine Council. It's going to get into several elements that deal with ancient pre-Israelite culture, and a lot of those things were lost. Kalila's crazy. A lot of those elements were lost. Shout out to SLMTV. Shout out to Avdon. Shout out to who else is in here that I missed. I want to make sure I grab everybody, man. Everybody. I think I got everybody. If you want to shout out, hit one. Hit one if you want to shout out. All right, give you a shout out. Hit one. Shout out to Haashaba4. Hit one if you want to shout out. If I miss you, shout out to my brother KB. Shout out to KB. Shout out to Yeshua, Armani Shabazz. Shout out to Willie Harrison. And hopefully I got everybody. But hit one if y'all want the shout out. All right. So that's the gist behind the Divine Council. But I have a lecture that I'm doing next year. I was trying to do it by the end of this year, but I'm not going to be able to do it. So shout out to Ben Zion. Shout out to Germ 330. Shout out to Yahael Yakol. So I won't be doing that at the end of the year, family, but I'm gonna try to do it. I'm gonna try to schedule it tentatively for the end of January. Okay. And what this is, I'm gonna go into the Divine Council, and I'm gonna also talk about other ancient pre-exilic practices, and be able to create or sketch out a profile and try to figure out where these practices are being performed at today that can link us back to our ancestral roots. Okay. If y'all been following me now, y'all should know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Kimo Ben Yisrael. Shout out to Malak Lorenzo Amadis. Anybody else want to shout out? Hit one. Hit one if you want to shout out. All right. Stan Master said, for the PDF. You said, oh, no problem, man. No problem. And y'all don't, I mean, you don't have to give me anything for giving anything I give to y'all for free. It's not for a charge. But if y'all move to donate, then that would be greatly appreciated, because that helps with resources and everything else that goes towards this ministry, helping others, the projects that we have coming up, the research and development, all of that. All right. Ben Zion, I think he might have just jumped on. He says, are you still trying to reconstruct the original text of the New Testament? Yes, I am. I'm about 75% done. About 75% done. It's grueling work, man. And I'm gonna try to finish it at least by the end of the summer next year. We'll see how things go. But in the interim, I can go ahead and I can show you guys from my research what is authentic, which is about 75% of the text is authentic, but 25% of it is not. It's not from my research. Just like I showed y'all when we looked at the research that I presented, where it was said that the gospel according to Hebrews, i.e. the Hebrew version of Matthew, is 2,200 lines, which is 300 lines less than the Greek version that we have today. All right. So I'm trying to reconstruct that. I gave resources on that lecture. Y'all go back and check out that video that I did yesterday. Go back and check it out. It's on the channel. Go back and check it out when you get a chance. A lot of good information on there. Oh, Tandra Rudd. I apologize, Tandra. My bad. Sometimes I will slaughter names, so forgive me on that. Don't blame my heart, blame my head. All right, I'm working on that. Sometimes I will slaughter your name. Even when I do presentations, sometimes I will slaughter names. I'm admit it. Sometimes I do. You know, that doesn't detract away from what it is that I'm presenting or from my intelligence in any way. It's just that sometimes sometimes just New York like that, man. Sometimes, you know, my pronunciation just sounds mad New Yorkish, man. And y'all got to forgive me for that. I'm working on it. All right. But anyway, so SLM says, in your translation, are you by chance consulting the Ge'ez text? Yes, I am. Also consulting the Ge'ez text as well. I have 4 versions that I'm working with, 2 manuscripts that I'm looking at. I'm also working with the Coptic text as well. I got 3 of those that I'm working with as well. I try to use a text type from each language phylum manuscript, so that way I can get a better overall view of the different myriad of textual variants. You know what I'm saying? And I can be able to deduce from them what I perceive to be the original rendering. All right. Do you have a verse that links Yah to being the Most High in the Divine Council? That is a good question. I'm not sure. I got to go back and look at the litany of verses that I have outlined that's going to go into the presentation, and I'll get back to you on that. I know what sounds very disjointed would be looking at Devarim 32:8, because it seems to convey that Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh was an entity that was on that council, and that El Elyon was a separate entity. But there's ways to harmonize that. But I mean, if you do a surface reading, it just looks like that's the case. Now, one way that we can reconcile and be able to determine that it is Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh that is the one presiding over the council is going into archaeology, right? So in the Ugaritic text, El and Asherah. So Asherah is the consort of El. All right, El will be considered El Elyon, the Most High, because he presides over the council when we look at the Ugaritic text, or Ilu, right? So when we go into the archaeological record, we'll see at 2 sites, Adrud Kuntilet, or Kuntilet Adrud, and when we look at the what's the other site? The Kerbit Kum site, if I'm not mistaken. That's crazy how I just forgot it, and I spoke about it earlier today. Yeah, Kerbit El Kum. Kerbit El Kum. So Kerbit El Kum and Adrud Kuntilet, right? If you look at these sites, or Kuntilet Adrud, if you look at these sites, you'll see there's some Ashrakan that was left there. And in the Ashrakan, they talk about Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh and his Asherah. So what that means is that the Israelites had an understanding that El, who was the one that presides over the council, was also Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. And they understood this by associating Asherah with Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. Because when you look at consorts in regards to certain entities, they are typically consistent. So we'll see in the archaeological record, it helps us to reconcile that and to understand that that is actually Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, that's actually El Elyon that presides over the council, even if we don't get any direct answers from the text itself. But when I do the lecture, I'm going to try to comb it for as many of the texts as I can. There's just so many. I may not be able to lecture on so many because the lecture will be too long, but I'll get most of the major ones, a good amount of the major ones, so that way I can build my case, all right? So sometimes we have to consult comparative cultures, archaeology, historical accounts, etc., in order to help reconstruct the understanding that we have of the text, all right? And like I said, my strong point is reconstructing the ancient pre-Israelite culture and also reconstructing historical messianism, all right? And if you looked at my latest works, or my latest lectures, you can see some of the research that I put behind reconstructing the historical messianism, all right? Shout out to Tim Lindley. Ha'asha by 4. If you want to send it through PayPal, you can send it through my email address, and I'll put it up right here. Right, so that's the email address. You can send a donation via PayPal through that email address, all right? That'll go directly to the ministry pot, okay? So I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So any more questions, family? So while you're thinking of questions, let me just touch on this. So on December 20th, Keith Wharton says, in your opinion, was the crucifixion and resurrection literal or figurative? The crucifixion was literal. All right. We have historical accounts that can validate that. We know a crucifixion took place. So that definitely is literal. As far as the resurrection, now, I don't want to give y'all an answer on that, but my position is, because I don't want y'all going crazy until I actually do a lecture on it, okay? The lecture will give you all the details you need, so that way you can understand what my position is in regards to that, all right? So I'm going to hold off on that, but what I will say is the earliest accounts that we have never mentioned an empty tomb. The earliest accounts never mention an empty tomb. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. All right. He said, I want the answer. Crazy. All right. So let me go back to what I was saying. So on December 20th, there was a session on the Big Talk for You that me, Mayana Johnson, Umuna Yisrael, and Only Love Alston that we did where Vocab Malone was, he was there to promote his book and also to receive peer review and criticism from his book. Now, those of you who missed it, go back to Debate Talk for You and check it out. I don't know how Vocab is going to recover from that. I have no clue. Those sisters, man, did an excellent job cross-examining him, man. Cross-examining him, man. They did an excellent job cross-examining, so much so that I did not even want to say anything. All I wanted to do was sit there and observe, man. They did an excellent job. I wanted to even give them my time because they were well prepared. I didn't even come prepared. The questions that I had, I drafted them up on my way home from work. You know what I'm saying? That same day. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't as prepared as I could have been, but the objective was to catch him on several logical fallacies. And I'll go ahead and list it out. Some of y'all are not on Facebook. So you didn't see, you know, some of y'all did not see the post that I put up. But I'm gonna go ahead and read it for you. The logical fallacies that I sent him my questions on that he fell for. All right. So let me go ahead and grab that for y'all real quick. Let me read it out to y'all. There we go. All right. So remember, if you go back and listen to it and you go back and listen to my questions, all of it was centered around catching him in all of these logical fallacies, and he fell for each and every one of them. The first one was dogmatism, the claim that the claim being made is beyond argument. It usually only considers the personal opinion of the writer and lacks evidence. Personal incredulity. Upon finding something difficult to understand or unaware of how it works, is made out like it's probably untrue. The Texas sharpshooter. Cherry picking a data cluster to suit your argument or finding a pattern to fit a presumption. Anecdotal. Using personal experience or an isolated example instead of a valid argument, especially to dismiss valid arguments. False cause. Presuming that a real or perceived relationship between things mean that one is the cause of the other. To quote Q. Avoid having to engage with criticism by turning it back on the accuser. Answering criticism with criticism. Hasty generalization. This is a conclusion based on insufficient or biased evidence. In other words, you are rushing to a conclusion before you have all the relevant facts. Equivocation. The misleading use of a term with more than one meaning by glossing over which meaning is intended at a particular time. Vocab committed each and every one of these fallacies. I had 20 more lined up and the other 40 questions I wanted to ask, but I was limited in time, so I cannot ask all of them, and they were all based on the premise of his book. I didn't even get into it like I wanted to, right? And then I had some One West associates, reach out to me and say, hey, can you ask him this question? Can you ask him that question? And they did this on the fly. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put my question aside. And the second round that I have, I'm going to ask them questions again to get them in these logical fallacies, but based on the input that I'm getting from the One West community, right? So I took some of their input that they was giving me, and I tried to formulate it on the fly into a cross-examination of vocab. And it came out pretty good for something that I did on the fly. If I had taken some time to think it out, probably would have presented it much better. But the way it came out, what it was doing was taking shots at the credibility of his book. His primary research into the actual works, or trying to perform a quantitative research by way of questionnaire in regards to the leaders of One West that he cited in his book. He did not have any of that information. So his primary research was limited to people who were adherents to the One West doctrine, people who are adherents to the One West doctrine who have written works, people who are defunct members, but he never got direct input from the leaders of One West, which means that his research is really limited. Now, who claims the title of One West today? I mean, anybody, I guess, that's a leader now that's from the original school. And he's had some interfaces with them, but it was never objective. So it's very difficult to give any kind of credibility to a book or a work like that. So that was my objective for the second round line of questioning, right? But man, the sisters, man, they pummeled him, man. They pummeled him really bad, man. Really bad, man. And it's not good. And we only represent a fraction of other brothers and sisters out there that's equally or even more adept and studied than we are. So I keep telling him, you're thinking this is going to be a breeze, bro. We got too many titans that are ready to handle this challenge. It's just that the real titans are busy putting in work. But you keep pushing against the grain, and you're going to kick against the pricks, and it's going to hurt real bad. And you're going to have to go back and do something else. So a warning to vocab, fall back. Fall back. It's not looking good for you out there, man. You know, first you try to come up against me, didn't work. And then you thought your book was going to do something, put a dent in our community or something. Didn't happen, man. Those sisters really put you 6 feet under, figuratively speaking. So, I mean, that was a victory, man. That was a really, really good victory. So you'll go back to Debate Talk for You, and you'll go ahead and check out that session, man. It was great. It was really, really good, man. Really, really good. All right. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. And I'm done with the vocab situation. I got more work to do in teaching Yisrael and building y'all up and equipping y'all, encouraging y'all, empowering y'all. And this vocab was just a speed bump in the way. You know what I'm saying? So now that I've gotten over the speed bump, I'm going to keep on with my to my destination and keep putting in this work for the family. All right. But yeah, those sisters, man, did an excellent job, man. Those sisters, vicious, man. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about National Geographic and Animal Planet, where you see that scene where those lionesses are going out to hunt, and you see a gazelle, you know, that's straight off from the pack, and they just going in certain strategic formations and they just jumping on. That's exactly what I saw, man. When I was watching that, I was thinking that I was watching a National Geographic Animal Planet session on things that go on in the Serengeti, in the wild, man. It was something to behold. Shout out to those sisters, man. Shout out to those sisters, man. Oh man, that was beautiful, man. And yeah, and vocab, I don't know why does he get so bothered when I speak? It's like he allowed the sisters to build, but I tried to build I try to lead him into my questions regarding the subject matter. He's getting bent out of shape, trying to call me out my name, call me my government name, and I had to check him on that and say, oh, I don't like the dubious use of words that you use. Bro, if you don't want to answer the question, say I decline. That's what I said to him. Say I decline to answer that. I decline to answer that. Or just answer the question. Why are you getting bothered? Why are you saying sell? What you crying for? It was really bad, man. It looked really bad. I was cool, calm, and still got under his skin. It was really bad, man. That was really not a good look for him. was really not a good look for him. Adaya Israel says, when will you be presenting your lecture on the tribes of West Africa? That will be on the follow-up lecture after the Divine Council lecture. That will be the immediate follow-up lecture after that. All right. Whenever it's done, it'll be after that. Well, I'll address it and I'll link people's back to which tribes in West Africa, and out of those subgroups in those tribes in West Africa, who do those subgroups say that they come from in regards to the tribes of Israel? So that way I can connect people back to who they come from in regards to which tribe. All right. So that will be the follow-up lecture. All right. And hopefully you'll be able to enjoy this. Glory be to the Most High. I said, I'm new to this, new to all of this. No problem, sis. When you get a chance, go back and check out the videos on Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. We have loads of content for advanced students and beginner students and people that just need a refresher. There's a lot of content on there that will definitely get you started on a myriad of subject matters that concerns our community. All right. You can also email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com if you have any other questions, and we'll do our best to address them for you. Okay. So, and that's the thing. So once I got on my vocab the first time, his demeanor started to shift, man. He started to get a little bit more confrontational with the sisters. Yo, it was really bad, man. It was really bad. It was really bad. It was really bad. He did his best, but it was really bad, man. It was really bad. And Abu was the only one from his squad that called in to try and save him, man. He got so, you'll go back and hear it. When Abu calls in, he gets so relieved. Like, oh, Abu, because he knows when those callers was getting in, he's about to be put under those flames. And he was so happy when Abu called in to save him, man. It was really disheartening, man. I really felt bad for him after he got that slaughter, man. That figurative slaughter. All right, figurative slaughter. All right. DJ Soup, I don't subscribe to the 12 tribes chart. My research is based on the oral traditions, migrational routes, customs, traditions, even DNA to trace us back to which tribe based on that cluster of data. All right. It's not based on the 12 tribes chart at all. Okay. It's a different methodology into ascertaining which tribe we can connect certain people to. Okay. If y'all definitely want to see the rest of that session, Kiefer, Abiel, Ben Israel put the link in the chat. You can definitely click on that and check it out, man. It was, and those of you who read the book or read the sample, please go to Amazon and leave a review, an honest review, whether you believe it's poorly cited, whether you believe that it's misrepresentation, whether you believe that it left a lot to be desired, whether you believe that it was non-academic, whatever it is, keep it clean, keep it professional, and peer review and critique it, and leave your comments on Amazon, all right? And let the world know what you think about his material, but only if you read it. Don't troll, just read it, whether the samples, and if you can go back and you can see what those samples are by looking at that link, or if you actually read the book. Those of you who have Kindle Unlimited, y'all can actually download the book for free and read the entire book for free. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, log into your Kindle Unlimited account, type in Barack Obama versus the Black Hebrew Israelites, and you'll be able to read his book for free. That's how I was able to read it for free. I read the whole thing for free and didn't pay a dime for it. All right. So definitely, even if you got to get the trial of Kindle Unlimited just to read his book for free. You know what I mean? Just to read it for free. And then after you read it, you can cancel the trial and then go leave a comment. But only leave a comment on his Amazon page with the book if you read the book, and give a professional critique of the book. Don't troll it, you know, because I don't want us to look bad, look crazy. But just go back and leave a comment after you read the book. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. And if you don't have Kindle Unlimited, sign up for the trial, read it, and then cancel your trial. All right. So yeah, so definitely check that out, fam. Definitely check that out. Nieces pieces sound buffering again. Nah, I don't know why it's buffering, man. I can't wait till I move and get this Google Fiber, man. Not gonna have these buffering issues no more. Ever since I moved to this place, I've been having issues, and it's very frustrating. All right, so I'll be out of here soon, family. And when I am next year, we're gonna try to eliminate those buffering. All right, so everything's smooth for y'all. But just please try to stay with me as much as you can. All right. Some other people say there's no buffering at all, so I don't know what's going on. But hopefully y'all enjoying. All right. All right. So let me play this clip for y'all real quick. Let me play this clip. And this clip is based on a teleconference session that I was invited to regarding the Sabbath. Is the Sabbath a 24-hour period, or is the Sabbath a 12-hour period? Okay. And I'm gonna let y'all hear some of it.
Right. They more than like today. Right.
Okay, here it is. Hold on. Let me turn it up. Check it out. Let me know what y'all think before I post it up.
Today. Right. They more than likely they would have maybe, let's say, a step shadow. And a step shadow was something like Ahaz would have in regards to looking at how the sun would hit these steps and cast a shadow, and they would know what part of the day it is. So looking at the full period of what we will say would be from the evening when the sun sets, right, during the twilight hours, right? We have three types of twilight hours. We have civil twilight, where it's getting dark, and it depends on where the actual sun is setting in regards to the ecliptical plane on the earth. And then from there, we have a nautical twilight, and then we have astronomical twilight. So during civil twilight, it's getting dark, the sun is setting, but work can still be done because you can still see. These people were very empirical. They didn't have electricity like we did. So a lot of work or laborious work would be done during the day when people can see going outside doing various things. Any other work that was performed in the evening were more than likely restricted to the home, because that way they would have their own type of lighting, whether it was a torch that they lighted, a candle, or whatever they used to burn fat in order to have light within the home, right? So I say this to say that once we have a complete closing of the twilight hours, nautical, meaning that this is the time where the sailors on the seas would use this portion of the sun setting in order to best see the stars or the celestials in order to determine what direction to go. And then when we get to astronomical twilight, it's almost completely dark. You can't see anything outside unless you have some type of artificial light. So going from one period of time that they saw empirically to another period of time is how they reckon events occurring and how they determine how a day was rendered. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. A lot of us was using texts like Bereshit chapter 1, where we're talking about day 1, day 2, day 3, etc. And when you go to Bereshit chapter 2, we see that all the work had ended, right? When we open up verse 2, Waikulu, Hashamayim, Wachares, Wakal Seba'am. So he says, and he finished, or the works was finished, the heavens and the earth, and all their vast rating. Nothing else had to be completed after that. Then it says, Wakal Elohim Bayom, and it says, Ha Sebe'i. So we get to the seventh day, his work, Melakto, Asher Asaf, which he had made, and it says why he spoke and he rested when on the day portion, because we don't see a bokeh and a red on the seventh quote unquote day, we don't see that opening and closing of a period of time. It's just a period of time where there's no opening and closing, because it was intended for it to stay like that perpetually based on Adam's adherence to the Most High's commandment. So one thing that we miss is that there's various ways in which Yom is rendered, and I think I may have like a minute or two, but there's various ways that it's rendered, and it's very important for us to see an example. So if you guys have Genesis chapter 19, verse 34, we'll see something very interesting, because what I want to do is pull on other passages that help give us a complete midrash of the text. So midrash, Darash has to do with it taking out something, right? We're looking at something, trying to interpret something, and need the mem prefix is taking out of what we're seeking. And there's various two major types of midrash. We have halakha midrash and agaba midrash. One is determining of the narrative. How do we interpret the narrative? The other one is how do we interpret the mitzvah or the laws? So that way we can practically apply them today. Anybody that's looking at the Torah and then more of that extension of Tanakh, we have to use appropriate midrash to know how to approach the text. And one way to do it is looking at words and terms. So if you go to Genesis or Bereshit 19:34, can somebody read that for me real quick? Anybody? Yeah. Genesis 19:34. happened?
That the firstborn said unto the younger, behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let make him drink wine this night also, and go back.
Exceptions, but for the most part, people kept their laborious works, anything they were doing indoors, and when the day rose, it was like today, we have business days, right? Business days is a 9 to 5. So if I'm off tomorrow, if I go to my I'm off tomorrow, that's going to be indicative of the business hours of 9 to 5 where I would typically work. And those times, business hours when the sun came up, or when the sun set. And when the sun came up and set, that period of time when you did your laborious work in the field, you would cease from that labor and you wouldn't do it. Now in the evening, you can prepare. Once the sun comes up, you stop, you cease. Because at that point in time, no work at all can be done. And the last scripture I want to pull out, and I'm gonna pass the line. It took a couple minutes because I didn't get to say anything the whole time. We got to look at another scripture, Shemot 13:21, right? And a pillar of cloud or smoke, and this was to show them in which direction to go. So in this rendering here, we see that day means the daylight portion, because the cloud of smoke was there to lead them, and it made a distinction for Waylayah. Waylayah means at night, right? So in nighttime, when it was dark, he said, I'm going to be a pillar of fire for you. And this pillar of fire that I'm going to be for you is going to give you light so you can travel, so you can travel by day and night. So he's saying, I'm going to do these things for you because I'm distinguishing what I'm going to do during the Yom portion and the Layla portion. I'm going to give you a cloud of smoke. I'm going to give you a pillar of fire so I can take you in the direction you need to go. So again, we see that it's, it looks like this month.
And then he said in the morning, that they were setting it was yesternight.
But because we've been locked, what the morning ceases when the evening or it begins. So the reference point to evening has to do with the indicator that starts a period of darkness called Layla or night. The morning aspect has to do with the period of time in which the light emerges, and the light is called day, and it's the daylight portion. So keeping this concept in mind, then we move forward to the last clause, which is Yom Echad, the first day. Now look at this. After we read the context up into Boker, from Wayikra to Boker, when we look at the final clause, Yom Echad, is the interesting part. Yom Echad is separate from the rest of the verse. Well, what you mean is separate from the rest of the verse? Which means that even though Yom is used twice in that verse, it has a different contextual or semantical value in the verse itself. Because when it's first referenced, it's assigning the light or the order portion to what we call day. And the second inference of it is when we're saying that a total portion of period, a total portion of time, or when we say the Echad or Yom Echad, the first day, incorporates these cycles of light day and darkness night, which is indicative of the evening and the morning. The problem is that we read it in a singularity straight through. We miss the semantical value of Yom, and we miss the contextual inference that the scribe is trying to convey. So keeping that in mind, remember I said earlier, when you look at the twilight period, that is indicative of evening and indicative of morning. The twilight indicates a transitionary period from one phase of time to another phase of time, because the scribe was writing with the concept of relative dating. Dating is reckoned based on an event that is empirical, that they can observe, they can absorb, and they can also convey when they're speaking about it. That would be known within a cultural, historical worldview of the people at that time. So again, everything that we're saying here makes sense, but what we're missing is when we look at Genesis 1:5, there are two semantical values for Yom based on context. Now, people who read the Hebrew here, you'll see that there's a divider mark between Boker and Yom. Now, if y'all don't know what that is, go back and look at it in the Hebrew and go and research. But the reason why that is there is because it's showing you that even though it's in the same verse, right, it has a different value than the rest of the text. So now we get to resolve somewhat or harmonize somewhat the things that we're all saying. One person is saying, well, a day is a full 24 hours. Another person is saying, well, a day just means the daylight portion. Guess what? They're both right. It just depends on the context and where else it's being used. And I'll say this and I'll end off. The book of Genesis, eventually that's being written, we ascribe the authorship to Moshe. But we know that there are portions of it, especially in Devarim towards the end, where it's more narrative that we know somebody added additional information there because it was taking the story in a contextual framework. And we see that whenever we see the conservative wild. The conservative wild is not something that is used in modern Hebrew, but in biblical Hebrew, it sets the stage for a narrative. And what it does is that it is placing emphasis on something in regards to the entire context of the story. So once we see that this text has been redacted by scribes later on, these are priestly scribes that have understanding of their the environment, understanding of their stratification of classes of people, that knew history, that were able to write. So being that this is the case, once they open up the scene in Bereshit, now what they do is that they pick up from there and they place it back, or not back, but forward into context and other places in which we read the text. Now, when we go to Exodus or Shemot, we have a situation, for example, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Shemot chapter 16, we have a situation where the Sabbath is first instituted, not Shemot 20. Shemot 16 is when the Sabbath is first instituted. Matter of fact, the Sabbath is kind of, I would say alluded to prior to that, because when Moshe goes to Pharaoh, he said to him, hey, we want 3 days to go in the wilderness to offer a sacrifice to our deity. Now, why is that a Sabbath? Because they were working every day. And we see this echo later on where David, Jonathan, and Shaul have a situation where there was some kind of cloud going on, a feast going on, and it was set aside for a series of days that was going by, because this is a period of time where the people removed themselves from laborious work and they set it aside to feast on those days. So the Shabbat itself, or resting from work, the concept, we see it in Bereshit. So now when we play it out from Bereshit, it starts first with taking people beating to go sacrifice in the wilderness where they're not working for Pharaoh, all the way up until when they actually leave out in Exodus 16, they're actually in the wilderness, the people need to be sustained with food. So during the daylight, right? Remember, during the daylight is where they can feed, right? And they can go and grab these quails and grab this manna. But at nighttime, they are indoors. You know why? Because it's cold outside. There's animals, wild animals outside. People can rock you outside. So any kind of work of preparation was done in the evening. But the moment the light came up, they could not go and retrieve any quails or any manna, because on that seventh day, everything will be rotted out. When the daylight portion opened up, which would be a business day period for them. So again, we have to understand context and semantical value, and in doing so, we can determine if day is referring to a 24-hour period or if it's referring to the light portion. But this would take us actually parsing through various verses and looking at it in a midrash perspective at the narrative to be able to determine what's going on. But Genesis 1 and 5 is an excellent perspective. If anybody actually has looked at the manuscript, which I have, and you'll see that indicated there that separates Boker from the next word Yom in the same verse. It's awesome because it helps to harmonize what all of us are saying here, but the key thing is content.
All right. Thank y'all for listening in to that. I just wanted to share some of that with y'all. If y'all want me to post the entire session, hit 1. If y'all want to, if you want me to post the entire session, hit 1. All right. And I'll go ahead and work on that and get that up there for y'all. And pretty much what that was that is the Sabbath a 24-hour period, or is the Sabbath a 12-hour period? And that's pretty much what the discussion is. So my objective was to try and bring harmony and unity in regards to people who stand on the 12-hour, people who stand on the 24-hour, by just giving them some more insight into the subject matter on some nuances that they may have overlooked. All right. And that was my purpose of doing that. I was invited to the teleconference. I listened for about an hour and a half. I asked if I can speak. I was told yes, but I had to wait my turn, which I'm okay with. And when my turn came, I just wanted to maximize the time that I had by actually giving the appropriate input, so that way people can come together on the line and not be so divisive and attacking each other. And that's always what I attempt to do initially if I see a conflict, is to try and mediate, you know, or try to bring resolution to the conflict. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, I guess y'all like that. So I'll go ahead and work on that. Thank y'all for listening to that. Shout out to Yesha Moore. I think I got everybody. Love Yaz Kalis. Angel, Dominic, I think I got everybody. Daniel Knox, just now seeing Daniel Knox in here. All right. So somebody asked me if I curse. I don't, for the most part, no. I may say the N word within context. I may say damn or something like that, but I don't really curse. I used to curse. But I've refrained from doing that because it wasn't just for myself, but it was for others. I don't want to deter others from listening to the message that I want to convey. Now, you'll hear me use slang sometimes. I'll use slang a lot because that's just New York in me. Somebody says that it buffered. So the question I asked was, the Shabbat session that I just gave y'all a preview of regarding whether or not the Sabbath is a 12-hour period or a 24-hour period. I went ahead and gave you a sample, and I asked if you enjoyed it, hit 1, and I'll work on posting it up there for you. All right. So who's that? Darak? Shalom to you. He says, Divine Prospect, you from Brooklyn, right? Nah, I'm from the Bronx. I'm from the South Bronx. South Bronx. But anyway, so I realized that, shout out to Brian Williams. I realized that, you know, for this platform, I wanted to make it accessible to various classes of people, different age groups, etc. One thing that I realized is that, you know, change, you know, a lot of times change starts with what we do, but when it's motivated based on helping others, you're more inclined to commit to it, right? So I want to, Quincy says Strong Island in the house. Where I used to live in Long Island. I used to live in Long Island, out in Suffolk County. I didn't know that. That's interesting. That's really interesting. But anyway, so so I realized that I want the platform to be accessible to a wide range of audience. And the best way to do so is limit personal attacks to other people, minimize, deduce, and eliminate altogether any kind of explicit, foul, vulgar language that's perceived that way from society by using particular words out of context in a derogatory sense towards somebody or something. And I realized that to make wholesome content that's original, not content that I'm clickbaiting, because y'all, I don't do clickbait. You know, I realize that if you put genuine, rich, life-altering content out there, you don't have to clickbait people to watch it, right? Word of mouth is the best promotion because it's better trusted than you trying to promote yourself. So I just put good content out there, and I leave it in the hands of the people in the Most High and see where it goes, you know. So I realized that in order for me to better change, I have to commit to being a servant to other people. And I have to ensure that certain things that I do, not to purposely offend anybody, if it's within my power to refrain from it. And in doing so, I've learned that, you know, it has helped me get access to certain places that I would not have before if I was unfiltered and unhinged, right? Oh, I see. Okay, Bronx rather, raised in Brooklyn. Okay, cool. I try to keep that in mind because, you know, we get a lot of content from our community. Some of it is wholesome. Most of it is very vulgar and explicit, and it makes it very difficult for parents to share with children, for adults to share with their parents who may be much older. So I just want to make sure that the platform is accessible by anybody outside, people that want to sponsor it, endorse it, people who are elderly, people who are young children. I just want to make sure the content is appropriate and it's accessible for everybody. Now, I would say my content, if we had to put it on a rating, like movie rating, it would be PG-13. I would say it's PG-13. That's how I would rate my content. You know, it's not too PG and it's not too R. It's like right in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to turn people off in regards to the information. So I try to convey it in a way where people can receive it without feeling offended by the explicit use of language. If they are offended, it's because they're cut by truth, and that's fine, because they'll heal, you know, but you'll learn from it. All right. So somebody said, Snare Master said, what do you think about the HIS Word Bible? I heard of that before. I'm not 100% familiar with that. Or maybe I am and not even realize it. It's saying the Bible according to Thomas Jefferson. I don't know what that is. What is that? The Sefer Bible is okay for beginners. It promotes the Aleph Tav doctrine, the fact that Yahusha is the Aleph Tav as seen in the Hebrew text, which is a false doctrine, because that's not what that is. It's a direct object marker, and it's something that's not translatable in English because you don't need to use it in English. But in Hebrew, you need it for emphasis on certain things. So Adaya Israel says the Hebrew Israelite scriptures. Is that the? I think I know what you're talking about. Malak said, where can I get an interlinear Bible? Malak, I will add you to my group, Kingdom Harbinger Ministries, Mekhar study group. And I have the Bibles there, the interlinears there. I'll go ahead and tell you what they are. Not for you, but for anybody else that may be interested in the group. Hold on. There we go. So I gotta keep up with this. So one reference, one book that I have is the Scottenstein edition, Interlinear Chumash. All right. I recommend the Interlinear Chumash. This is the Pentateuch, so that means it gives you the first 5 books, and it's the Scottenstein edition. So that's a great Torah, Interlinear Torah. All right. Another reference I have for those of you who want to dive into the New Testament, it's the English Greek Reverse Interlinear New Testament, the English Standard Version. This is from the Nestle Allen Novum Testamentum Greece, 27th Revised Edition by John Schwand and C. John Collins. And I have them around somewhere. I gotta look for them. And also the Aramaic Peshitta New Testament Vertical Interlinear by Janet M. Majera. All right, there's 3 volumes in there. Okay, so those are the ones that I would recommend as far as interlinear. And y'all know that interlinears are my favorite Bibles, because it puts you back into the mindset of the writers of the original language, and it helps to directly translate that into how it would be read in English to reflect how it's conveyed in the original language. All right, so those are my favorite Bibles. Y'all should know that by now if you don't already know that. And those 3 versions are some of the good ones that I recommend you guys go out and get. All right, so looking at the time, it's 1 hour and 24 minutes. So I'm gonna give you about 15 more minutes. All right, 15 more minutes, and I'm out of here. All right. Let me see. Let me see what y'all saying. Oh, she said, can you type the books in the chat? Sure, no problem. Give me 1 second. Matter of fact, I'll give you the Amazon link to purchase each book. I'll give you the Amazon link to purchase each book. All right, so here's the first one. That's the first one I just said. Let me give you all the second one. Let me find the second one. Here's the second one. It's the second one right here. All right, and let me give you all the third one. Let's grab that real quick. Here, let me give y'all these two. Let me give y'all this one too. I need a list of your library. That's a long list. That's a long list. Hold on, let me where's the other one? I think this is it right here. Yeah, this is it. All right, so I put 4 of them in there, so you can click on the links and it'll take you to Amazon. You can add that to your wish list, or you can put it in your cart, whatever you want to do. But those are the Bibles that I would recommend if you really want to get deep into your studying of the text. And then if you want to really upgrade your studies, you can go and get you the Logos 7 software, which I paid. Wow, I paid $1,400 for that software. I paid $1,400 for this Logo software that I got, and you can go get that too. That's an excellent resource, and that's used in a lot of seminaries as well. So anyway, what's this right here? Let me see. Oh, you know what? Let me take this. It might be the HDR that's causing it to act up like that. Let me take that off. Okay. I took it off. It'll probably help with the stuttering. All right. So KB said, is the wheel spoken of in Ezekiel a UFO? It was a UFO to the scribe that wrote it. Was it an actual UFO in the way we would perceive a UFO? I don't know. That's an excellent question. I've heard the arguments on both sides. I've never really came to a consensus on that. And I personally wouldn't call it a UFO. I would say it's something supernatural. And it was definitely something that was an unidentified flying object to the individuals contemporary to that time when it was being recorded. So Charisma Batya, shout out to Charisma Batya. She said, Shalom Aki, could you break down the difference between your messianic stance versus others? Sure. What you can do, sis, for reference is I have 2 lectures on my YouTube channel. I have the one that I did yesterday on there. Hold on. Whoa. I have, let me give it to y'all. The one that says baptized in the tradition of the matter of fact, I think I'll post the link. I'll post the link for y'all. KB, that was an accident. I clicked on the link. That was like my bookmarks trying to get to YouTube, and it brought that up. And that was a video I was watching. So, yo, that's crazy. All right, so look, let me get. So that's the first link. The second one was the one that I did yesterday. So I want to give that to you as well. And if you watch those videos, you'll start to understand what my position is in regards to messianism. That makes my position a little bit unique in the community. But to sum it up for you, yeah, you're right, DJ Soup. Thank you for that. So my position in regards to my messianic stance. So my messianic stance is getting back to the historical Yahusha, getting back to the words that he actually said, getting back to the original, Brit Hadashah, because it is not a New Testament. It is a restored covenant. So the restored covenant has to do with the priesthood system that Abraham was inducted in by way of Melchizedek, and how Yahusha was called into the sonship to be inducted as the high priest over the Melchizedek order after the suspension of Levitical order and the contingency plan of the Melchizedek order up until the reestablishment of the kingdom, where the Levitical order will be reinstituted and the Melchizedek order will then be cut off because there will be no need for it. And then after the kingdom period, the eternity period, will have no need for any priesthood at all, and will all be with Yah, right? So my position is, how do we reconstruct the original Brit Hadashah from the New Testament that we have today, right? So I fall in line with the historical Yahusha. And this is not a simple answer that I can give, but what I will say is that a lot of people blackwash Christianity. So you'll have a lot of Messianic Hebrew Israelite groups that all they do is blackwash Christianity because they don't understand the development of the Christological views that they have absorbed into their doctrine by way of individuals that have interpreted the text, by way of church fathers' understanding of the text. And if you can't name 6 church fathers to me before the Nicene period and explain to me in a few lines what was the basis of their teachings, like if I name to you some church father, if I name to you Justin Martyr, if I name to you Irenaeus, if I name to you Eusebius, if I name to you Arius, if I name to you Athanasius, if I name to you who else am I name? Epiphanius, if I name to you Jerome, if I name to you all these church fathers, can you give me a summary, paragraph summary, what each one of these church fathers taught? And they've written a lot of works, but what's the summation of what they taught? And if you don't know that, how do you know that the doctrine that you subscribe to now was not built off of a premise that was established by one of these church fathers or even by one of these councils? Can y'all name me the 7 ecumenical councils, early ecumenical councils, and what each one entailed? And if not, how do you know your doctrine has not been influenced by that? Can you give me the composite nature of the Gospels and explain to me in regards to the composite nature what is genuine and what is noted to be an interpolation? Can y'all perform that for me? So my objective is to filter through all of that, get back to the historical Yahusha that the indigenous Israelites followed, who kept Torah and accepted Yahusha ben Yosef as their Mashiach, to put them back on the right path to Yah, the Most High, and to give them the mission of bringing his gospel of the kingdom, the same thing that the prophets of Nebi'im preached in the Tanakh, the same voice he brought in the same spirit to his people during his time to prepare them for the arrival of the Most High's kingdom on the earth. Now, the Son of Man title is very unique because my position is that anytime Yahusha spoke about the Son of Man in the third person, that is genuine. Anytime the Son of Man title was ascribed to himself I say that in some cases it's accurate. In other cases, I believe it to be an interpolation by a later Christian writer. All right. And I have to do another lecture on the Son of Man thing, which is very interesting. Because let me give y'all the precept for the Son of Man. All right. That a lot of people they miss. Okay. Remember, Son of Man also means a servant, right? But let's get into the text right here. I'm gonna get into a text right here. Right. Let's go to Psalm chapter 80, verse 17. Tehillim 80, verse 17. It says, let your hand be upon the man of your right hand, the Son of Man whom you made strong for yourself. Then we will not turn back from you. Revive us, and we will call upon your name. Did you hear what I said? Let your hand be on the right hand. Let your hand be on the man of your right hand, on the Son of Man, whom you made strong to yourself. So that way we may turn back to you. This right here is the precept for the Son of Man title. Who does the Most High have his hand on that he is utilizing to turn Israel back unto himself? A lot of times this was utilized through a prophet. A lot of times this was done through a king, right? So the hand being on the right hand, meaning the strength of Yah, who is representing Yah on the earth, who he has his hand on that he's utilizing to turn Israel back unto himself. This is what we get when we read Tehillim chapter 80, verse 17. Then we shall not turn back from you when your hand is on the right hand, when your hand is upon the man of your right hand, upon the Son of Man, whom you made strong for yourself, then we shall not turn back from you. Revive us, and we will call upon your name. So that means that he is strengthening an entity, a person, in order to utilize them to turn Israel back to him so they can be revived out of their state. This is very interesting. Now look at this. Let me show y'all something. Let me show you something. All right? When you go to Ezekiel chapter 37, the Most High calls Ezekiel the Son of Man, right? And in chapter 37, it has to do with the dry bones in the valley. So what he did was he asked Ezekiel, can these bones live again? And he says, only you know, Yah. He say, prophesy to these bones and they will come back to life. So when I look at Yahushua ben Yosef and his role as a prophet, he was speaking a word to dead Israel at that time to revive them and turn them back to the way of Yah so that they may live again and start the regathering process by waking up the elect or the remnant of Israel. Okay. All right. Hold on, family. Hold on. Hold on, family. Get into this information, man. Yeah, Ezekiel was a priest prophet. If you go to Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 3, 4, you'll see that he was a priest prophet living in Chebar, which is near the Tigris-Euphrates rivers in Mesopotamia. So he was already in captivity when the text opens up. So he's speaking about the calamity that's going to befall the siege on Israel because he was taken in the first captivity, which is in 597 BCE. And he was prophesying about the second captivity that would take place in 587 BCE. All right. But he was already in captivity when he was speaking. Because they tell you what king was in power while he was in captivity to let you know that the majority of Israel was still in the land. But a good portion of them were taken out during the first captivity. I hope y'all understand that. That's very interesting. All right. I agree at DJ Suit. All right. So Psalm 80 and 17 lets you know that Yah puts his hand on the man on his right hand so that he may strengthen him for himself, so that Israel can turn back to Yah, be revived, and can call on his name. All right. Yahushua being a prophet said, I didn't come in my own name. I didn't come in my own strength. I can do nothing of myself. I come in the name of the Father. He was restoring the people back to the Father. That was his job. He said in Matthew chapter 5:17, I didn't come to destroy the law, but to fill it. Matthew chapter 9:1, he says, 9:1 and 2, he says, the Pharisees and the scribes sit in the seat of Moses. Whatever they tell you to do regarding the information that is from the seat of Moses, you do it. That's interesting. He told the people that the Pharisees and scribes sit in the seat of Moses, and whatever they tell you to do, you do it. He was telling everybody to go back to the law. But he was saying, but hypocritical behavior, the things that they tell you to do that they don't do, he says, avoid that. That was the beef he had with them. And it wasn't all the Pharisees, because some of the Pharisees helped the movement, right? But he was addressing some other Pharisees that was the leaven that was causing the people to go astray. So all he was doing was he was bringing people back on the path to Yah. He was teaching them to repent, turn from your ways, because the kingdom is at hand. He was telling them, giving them midrash, all right? Midrash agadah. So midrash agadah is giving you an interpretive, illustrative expansion means of understanding what Torah is saying. All he was doing was giving midrash. He wasn't changing the law. He wasn't giving them a new commandment. He was giving them midrash. And when you understand midrash agadah, you understand that that's exactly what he was performing when he says, you've heard in old times past and said this, but I say to you, all he's doing is expounding on it to give you a more practical way to live out what's written in the past. That's it. Just like I told y'all, if y'all are having difficulty keeping the statute, laws, and commandments, because it's hard to remember it all and know how to practically apply it, read a Mishle or a proverb. Go to the book of Proverbs, read the book of Proverbs. The book of Proverbs will teach you how to practically apply Torah. And if you familiarize yourself with the sayings in Proverbs, it will be much easier for you to carry out Torah. Okay. I don't believe, let me rephrase that. I don't like that word believe. I don't subscribe to the pre-existent state of Yahusha. That was something that was first brought to the forefront by Shaul, that was never taught by his disciples. Taught to his disciples, or he never taught himself. And then that concept found its way in the prologue of Yachanan chapter 1, that somebody borrowed from Philos of Alexandria and his conveyance about the concept of the Logos. So John chapter 1, verse 1, I believe verse 17, is a prologue. The prologue is not part of the narrative. It was something that somebody injected into there at a later time. So this pre-existent state of Yahusha was not what the indigenous Israelites subscribed to. The Nazarenes, the Ebionites, who were indigenous Israelites that kept Torah and followed Yahusha, and it was also people that was part of the original crowd that followed Yahusha, and that part of the crowd that was around contemporary with the disciples. They did not subscribe to the pre-existent state of Yahusha. That was something that was unfathomable to them. They didn't subscribe to a virgin birth either. That was something that was unfathomable to them. But today we have some people that do subscribe to the pre-existent state of Yahusha, that do subscribe to the virgin birth. And I'm not saying they're wrong per se. All I'm saying is the indigenous Israelite followers did not follow that. That was something that Paul used as a tool to teach the importance of Yahusha to the Gentiles. But that was not something that was going on in the circles of the indigenous Israelites at that time, or the Yahudim at that time. They didn't subscribe to that. And if you'll go back and watch my lecture that I did yesterday, I give you the church fathers quotations, not quotations, quotations of the church fathers, and them expounding on that and explaining to you, you know what I'm saying, that these individuals, the Ebionites and Nazarenes, they didn't subscribe to the pre-existent state of Yahusha. They didn't subscribe to the virgin birth of Yahusha. They believed in his death, burial, and his appearance and ascension. Resurrection is a different story. That's a different subject matter altogether. How you define resurrection, right? I'll get into that another time. But when you look at the indigenous Yahudim that was around with Yahusha, that were Israelites by blood, they did not subscribe to the pre-existence of Yahusha. They did not subscribe to the virgin birth. If you go back and you watch my lecture on yesterday, you'll see how I go to the various stages of the development of the Christology in regards to the personages of Yah, where it starts with the sonship by way of his ascension after his death, burial, and resurrection, and then ends up in a pre-existent state. So we go from the sonship through exaltation after the death, burial, resurrection, ascension. Then the second stage, which is the sonship, and the transition from modalism to the Trinity doctrine. And the Trinity doctrine was the one that won favor at the Council of Nicaea. And from there, it continued to develop. But the person that really laid down a subordinate version of the Trinity was Tertullian. And you got to look up Tertullian's work in order to understand what he laid down. So if y'all don't, somebody says the video's cutting. Now, again, okay, hold on, family. Hold on. The video crashed. What? I don't know what's going on. Hopefully this is better, family. I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, let me continue, right? So when you study history, when you study the church fathers, when you just study the composite nature of the scriptures, when you do textual criticism, you'll be able to unravel all the things that was injected into this text, into this ideology, because it's one of the greatest cover-ups in human history. How do we cover up the historical Yahusha and kill off his original followers, his real followers, and be able to usurp, to infiltrate, usurp, and then co-opt with the movement, so that way we can retell the narrative? That's what was done. The main reason why I'm messianic, because I understand the history behind the so-called New Testament. And I realized that the biggest threat to Christianity and to the so-called Jews were the Israelites, or the Yahudim, who kept Torah and acknowledged Yahusha as the Mashiach, or as a Mashiach. I'll put it like that. As a Mashiach. Because he helped to bring them back on the right track when they were veering off, and he brought them back unto the Father. So when you study this information, you'll be able to see that this pre-existent teaching that Paul puts out, he gears it towards Gentiles. You'll never see it practiced or something that was accepted by the Yahudim who followed Yahusha. And we have evidence of that through the extra biblical manuscripts, right? Such as First Clementine, from the Pseudo-Clementine homilies. And we also get it from the writings of the church fathers as they talk about the Ebionites and the Nazarenes. We'll see that this pre-existent state is something that is a later development that Paul developed 20 years later, after you know, Yahusha was dead. 20 years later, when he starts writing his epistles, which is the earliest text of the New Testament that we have, he starts to talk about this pre-existent nature in Philippians, Colossians, and he starts to bring this essence into the text because he is relating to the Gentiles. Now, if you go back and you watch my lecture from yesterday, please, everybody who's watching this, go back and watch my lecture from yesterday. If you watch my lecture from yesterday, I will show you that the understanding that Paul had in regards to the Son being made in the image and likeness of the Father, and this pre-existent stuff, and him being the Word incarnate and all of that, the influence was Philo of Alexandria. Philo of Alexandria influenced the prologue in the book of John, chapter 1, and also influenced Paul and his understanding of a pre-existent state of Yahusha by ascribing the word to the Son. Also, the virgin birth concept came from Plutarch. Plutarch was the one that talked about pneumatic pregnancies. He brought that concept to the forefront that Gentiles would have been very familiar with. Hellenistic Gentiles, Hellenistic Jews would have been very familiar with. Plutarch was very renowned during his time. If you don't know who Plutarch is, then I can't have a conversation with you about the virgin birth. If you don't know who Philo of Alexandria is, we can't have a discussion about the pre-existence of Yahusha. You have to understand who these individuals are. And if you don't know the composite nature of these gospels and epistles, and at what time period they was laid down before the temple destruction, after the temple destruction, you know, understanding the composite nature of the work, the stylistic writings, we have to have that type of conversation. And what I do is that I give you the primer. So go back and watch the lecture I did on Saturday, which is a primer to give you some of that understanding. And then you can follow up with more critical questions, and we can really get to the heart of the matter. And as I concluded the lecture, I explained to you the most important elements of the message that Yahushua was trying to convey. His martyrdom, his death, was designed to get the message further out because he allowed himself to die so that way he can reappear to the disciples and inspire faith into them to go and bring this message out to the four corners of the earth, go into the lost sheep of Israel, reclaiming them, bring them back under one banner. So that way, once the elect is woken up, the Most High can then come and initiate the process of bringing his kingdom. Now, the Son of Man character is very interesting when we see who the Son of Man is from the perspective of Yahushua. When Yahushua says Son of Man, is he saying the Son of Man in regards to him being the Son of Man that he's prophesying about? Or is he ascribing the term Son of Man to himself in the same way Son of Man was ascribed to Ezekiel, being the prophet to speak the word to the dead bone, to the dry bones in the valley to wake them back up? So we can't always ascribe the term Son of Man in regards to Yahushua and say that it's the same Son of Man in context in which he's referring to when he speaks in the third person of another Son of Man that's coming back. That's a very deep discussion. We got to understand context, and you have to use the Tanakh as your archetype so you can understand anything that's in the Brit Hadashah. If you don't have a way to line the Brit Hadashah back to the Tanakh, then you have a problem. But whenever you're able to see these things and they line up with the Tanakh, you're like, wow, this is profound. But you have to have a Hebraic mind in order to see this. And then you understand why it's called the Brit Hadashah as opposed to the New Testament. There's no such thing. What is a New Testament? What is that? What is a New Testament? People don't understand what that means. As I unravel the New Testament more and more, I'm going to give you so much clarity that when you go back to read it, it will come to life right off the pages. I attempted to do that with the primer, but with follow-up versions, it's going to make everything that's being written leap off the page. And you're going to be like, oh, it's going to be that light bulb, that epiphany, that aha moment, that, wow, I didn't see that before. Very interesting. Let me give you all an example. Yeah, the Torah should never be, the Tanakh should never be called the Old Testament. That's Christian terminology. There's no such, what is the Old Testament? All right, I'm gonna leave that alone, right? Yeah, that's true, Mr. Casanova. So again, you understand that the pre-existence supports the Trinity doctrine. When you reject the pre-existence, you'll see that the Trinity doctrine cannot stand. And you reference back the Ebionites and the Nazarenes, who was the indigenous Yahudim who kept Torah and accepted Yahushua as the Mashiach. And they were the ones that was around during the time. Matter of fact, when Paul was on trial, the Pharisees claimed that Paul was part of the rebel group, the Nazarenes. Paul gives his defense and says, I'm part of the way, which is another sect. And Nazarenes was another sect, which means the Nazarenes was contemporaneous with the events during Paul and the apostles' time. And when you go back and look at the church fathers and what they say about these Nazarene sects, they'll tell you that these Nazarene sects did not believe in the pre-existence of Yahushua. They did not subscribe to the virgin birth. And these people, the sect was around during a time that was contemporaneous to the apostles and Shaul. That's very interesting. But if you don't understand history, it's going to put you at a disadvantage, and you're going to be subscribing to Christian dogma, Christian doctrine, and not even be aware of it. So my objective is to remove you from that Christian doctrine, if you're Israelite, and put you back into the historical Yahushua, like presenting historical Yahushua to you, and bring you back to the indigenous state that his Israelite followers, the Yahudim followers, would have understood him in the context. They would have understood him in the historical context, and you can better receive his message. Nobody preaches the gospel of the kingdom. Everybody preaches the gospel of Christ. The gospel of Christ was tailored for the Gentiles. The gospel of the kingdom was tailored for the Yahudim, or the Israelites. Matter of fact, when Stephen was martyred and the Israelites scattered, they went north to Syria and to Antioch, etc. And the text says clearly, matter of fact, let's get the text on that. I want y'all to see this. This is good stuff, man. I need y'all to see this. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me get this for y'all. Hold on. Let me get this for y'all. I want y'all to see this in the book of Acts, man. This is really, really good stuff. Where's it at? I wish I could share my screen, family. I apologize. I'm not going to use this method again because it's not letting me share my screen. And I don't like that. Yeah, man, I went into the marking priority and all of that stuff, man. I went into a lot of stuff yesterday. Let's see if I can get this for you. Where's it? This is missing. Where's those? Man, those scriptures is not on here. Hold on, let me get it for y'all. Hold on, family. Let me get it for y'all. I want to read something that probably a lot of people glossed over. All right, so Acts chapter 11, verse 19. Pay attention. So then, those who were scattered because of the persecution that occurred in connection with Stephen made their way to Phoenicia and Cyprus and Antioch, speaking the word to no one except to the Jews alone. So now, when the ecclesia, which was the Yahudim from Judea, when they were scattered, you know what they did? They kept protocol. They only went to their own. But watch this. Let's read the next verse. It says, but there were some men of Cyprus and Cyrene, you know, people who the apostles and the early ecclesia, when they went to Cyprus, they inspired some men in Cyprus who, when they received this message, who were Jews, they decided to go in their own strength and bring the message to the Greeks or the Gentiles also. They were out of protocol. They were not supposed to do that. They jumped the gun prematurely. Now remember, the previous chapter, we have Cephas or Peter, who was speaking to a Gentile, and speaking to the Gentile, he, talked to the Gentile. Ruach HaKodesh came onto the Gentile, and the Gentile received the message. But that was a very unique scenario that Peter was put in, because he was supposed to go to the circumcised only, right? So when we look at the church after they scattered, they went to Antioch. Watch how funny this is, right? So when these other men from Cyprus and Cyrene started to go to the Gentiles and they violated protocol, because Yahushua said only go to the lost sheep of Israel, what they decided to do was, so far, when they went to the Gentiles were all excited about this message and everything like that. They said, yo, we're going to send Barnabas off to Antioch and find out what the heck is going on. And it's so funny that Barnabas meets Paul, right? And Paul, when you go back and go to read Galatians chapter 1 and Galatians chapter 2, Paul was a rogue agent for 3 years. Then after 3 years, he went and he saw Peter for 15 days. Then saw James before he left, and then come back and see them until another 15 years. And he only came back after that 15 years because he had an issue where people wasn't respecting his authority. They didn't respect his authority on the circumcision matter of Gentiles. So he had to go back to the OGs and get some precedences laid out. And then they had to give him a letter so people can recognize his authority to Gentiles. Okay. But go back and watch my lecture from yesterday. I went ahead and spoke on that. But that's that. All right. Brian said, what precept was that again? For which precept you talking about? Quincy, yep, that does kill it. And also, Quincy, now that you say that, Quincy, let's see some other scriptures that destroyed the Trinity doctrine, right? Watch this. If you go to John chapter 17, verse 3, Yahushua says, this is eternal life, that they may know you, the only true El, and Yahushua HaMashiach, whom you have sent. There's only one true El. That is the Father. Yod He Wav He. It's very clear. Deuteronomy 6:4, we have a situation where Yahushua repeats the Shema. Why is he repeating the Shema? Why would he repeat the Shema if he believed in the Trinity? Trinity is not there, family. It's not there. All right, let's see. No problem. Malak posted it. Cool. Let's see. I agree, BA the student. You're absolutely correct. Now, Yeshua Moore is like, are you saying there's a possibility that Yahushua is not the same Messiah to return in the end times? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no to that. All I'm saying is await further research on that, and I'll give y'all a lecture on that, and y'all see what my stance is on that. But you got to be able to distinguish the Son of Man as him applying it to himself, and who the Son of Man is in regards to who he's saying is returning. That's very important. All right. But like I said, this thing goes real deeper than the surface level reading. And if we're not doing diligent studies, we're going to fall under the auspices of Christianity, just with a different face, right? And a lot of us blackwash Christianity and try to own it for ourselves, not realizing the implications of saying certain things. It just goes to show that a lot of us lack the historical understanding of what took place. History is going to dictate your theology, right? So depending upon what part of history you're subscribing to, a lot of us say, oh, no, I just subscribe to the Bible and that's it. And I'm like, are you aware of the composite nature of the text? I give an example. I said, knowing that the Pauline epistles written anywhere from 50 to 60 AD, the authentic ones, there are some ones that are considered dubious and spurious and doubtful to even be written by Paul, because the composite nature of it leads scholars to believe that it was written way after he died. In Romans chapter 1, verse 3, right? Let's go to Romans chapter 1, verse 3. Let's go to Romans chapter 1. I got to go after this, family. I know y'all want to keep asking me questions, but I'm going to go after this, right? If you go to Romans chapter 1, verse 3, matter of fact, let's go to Romans chapter 1. Romans chapter 1, it says, Paul, a bondservant of Yahushua HaMashiach, called as an apostle, set apart for the gospel of Elohim, which he promised beforehand through his prophets in the Holy Scriptures concerning his son, who was born of a descendant of David according to the flesh, who was declared the son of El with power by the resurrection from the dead, according to the spirit of holiness of Kodesh, Yahushua HaMashiach, our Adonai, through whom we receive grace and apostleship to bring about the obedience of the faith among all Gentiles, for his name's sake, among whom you also are called of Yahushua HaMashiach. Zone into Romans 1 and 3, concerning his son, who was born of a descendant of David according to the flesh. You don't see Paul say anything about a virgin birth here. He's ascribing his birth descendancy coming from a male's loins who is connected to the lineage of David. How come Paul never mentions a virgin birth if that is so essential? He never mentions a virgin birth. If you go to Galatians chapter 4, verse 4, we see where it says, so also while we were children, we were held in bondage under the elemental things of this world. But when the fullness of time came, Elohim sent forth his son, born of a woman, born under the law, so that he may redeem those who were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. Now, if he's born of a virgin birth, that means he is set apart from the law. That means that what Paul's saying here is a lie. Apparently, we understand that the idea of a virgin birth is a later development. Paul, having the earliest writings of the New Testament, never records a virgin birth. The Nazarene sect that was contemporary to Paul also never subscribes to a virgin birth, nor did he subscribe to the pre-existence of Yahushua. But Paul actually speaks about a pre-existent Yahushua, but not by way of a virgin birth. It's similar to what we read in Yachanan chapter 1, where there's a logos transitions, right? Gehenna transitions into sarx, or the flesh. It transitions into the flesh. We don't know how it happens, but some transition from this logos into the flesh occurs. Could it have been through baptism? Possibly. Could it have been through the virgin birth? Yachanan chapter 1 never refers to a virgin birth. Mark never refers to a virgin birth. And if you subscribe to Mark, the Markan priority, which a great deal of New Testament scholars and the general consensus leans on, there's no virgin birth there either. The virgin birth is not necessary. You have to have him coming from the loins of Yosef. When we look at the old Syriac manuscripts, that's represented by the Syriac Sinaiticus palimpsest, it attributes the beginning function or the agent of the beginning of Yahusha to Yosef. When we go to the Greek manuscripts, it attributes the beginning of Yahusha through Miriam. Interesting. Interesting. Jerome says, we don't know who translated the Greek manuscript of Matthew. We don't know who translated that. Who translated that? He said, but I translated a version into Greek and Latin, but we don't know who translated the Greek version. Whoever translated the Greek version was adding a lot of things into the text. They added a lot of things in the text, and the virgin birth was one of the things they added to the text. But anyway, Mr. Castellano said, is the resurrection necessary? That is an excellent question. His death, his burial, and his reappearance is necessary. But is the resurrection itself actually necessary? That's a good question. That's a good question. The earliest disciples believed that he died, he was buried, and that he resurrected in a form that allowed him to reappear to him. So the death, burial is all historic, but historians cannot comment on miracles because it cannot be worked in the framework of secular history. So what they'll say is that the disciples believed that he resurrected and he appeared to them. And this is what strengthened the movement to duplicate as fast as it did and to inspire people to die for what they believed, right? Yeah, and when you look at the Hebrew version of Matthew, the version that the Nazarenes and the Ebionites had, it only had the genealogy, and then it stopped after the genealogy of Yahusha beginning, Yosef beginning Yahusha, and it jumps to Matthew chapter 3, verse 1. All that others, the rest of the stuff after the genealogy, all the way up into Matthew chapter 3, it's nowhere there in the Hebrew version of Matthew. Remember, the Hebrew version of Matthew, the Gospel according to Hebrews, is 2,200 lines, which is 300 lines less than the Greek version or the Greek manuscripts that we have today. Which means that a lot of those lines came towards the end of the text, and a lot of those lines was during the beginning of the text. Interesting. When you do that deduction, Brother Prospect, what is a good source to read on the Council of Nicaea? The most important thing to get out of the Council of Nicaea so that you don't sound like conspiracy theorists, the books wasn't agreed on at the Council of Nicaea. I mean, people say that Jesus was created at the Council of Nicaea. That's all false. That's only for people who don't know history, or they read something like the Da Vinci Code, and that's all they know about the Council of Nicaea. You have to look at the transcript of the Council of Nicaea. Go to the transcript summary of the Council of Nicaea, and you'll see exactly what was discussed at the council, right? So let me see if I can get that for you. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. All right, click on that link there, and you'll get that information in regards to the historical information in regard to the Council of Nicaea. See, I was about to get off, but more people are jumping on the live stream. All right, I'll stay on for a few more minutes, just for the people that just jumped on. It's about 15 people just jumped on, so I'll stay on for a few more minutes. All right. Don't say the Trinity was created at Council of Nicaea. The Trinity was not created at the Council of Nicaea. The books of the Bible, the canon, was not formulated at the Council. The Council of Nicaea was only there in order to establish a creed in regards to establishing the orthodoxy of the personage of Jesus Christ. All right. Jesus Christ and Yahushua ben Yosef are two different characters. One is loosely based off the other. Okay? Just keep that in mind. As a matter of fact, how many of y'all know about the Ascended Masters? Jesus Christ is considered an Ascended Master. And the Theophany cults. I'll get it for you. When you go to the Theophany cults, I'll give you all good. I want to show y'all this, man. I want y'all to see these Ascended Masters. All right. Madeline Rich was like, "You was tired." Yeah, I am tired. Oh, I can't even share this. Oh, shoot. It won't let me send it. Dennis O says, "But how do you truly know that, Divine, when the information is so limited on these things, not to mention the info they suppress?" Dennis O, I'm not sure what you're referring to. When you say, "But how do you truly know that?" What is the that you're referencing? And did you also watch my lecture on the baptized in the tradition of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and the lecture that I did yesterday? If you watch those two lectures, there's a lot of data on everything that I'm saying, and I'm releasing it slowly because I don't want it to be too overwhelming, right? B Banks is interesting. Israel needs you to provide a systematic approach framework to study, a study guide or curriculum. You can send me the one you use to approach your studies. That will be on the website when it comes out, when it relaunches next year. I'll have that up there. There'll be a university section, and I'll have courses on everything, you know, methodology, archaeology, comparative cultures, language, textual criticism. I'll have short 20-minute modules of each one of those things, of each one of those courses that you can go through, and there's going to be a quiz and essay at the end, so we can see how good that y'all do. All right. I know, right? Yeah, he's crazy. Yeah, B Banks is like, sign me up now. I'm working on it. When I get the site, I'll have it up there for you. I got y'all, no doubt. But look up in the Theophany cults. Look up the Ascended Masters, right? I'm gonna write it in here because it won't let me share the link for some reason. You have to check that out. All right. All right, family. Any last things that y'all want to ask real quick? Comments y'all want to make? Because I am getting tired. I know y'all stay on here with me until the wheels fall off. You know what I mean? I respect that. I appreciate that. Any other questions y'all got real quick? Any comments y'all want to make? Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up, Malak. I'm gonna wrap it up because I do need to get some sleep. But just if y'all want to shout out, hit 1. If you have any other questions, let me know. Now, the Star of David, I don't subscribe to the Star of David because the Star of David was introduced to Israelites by means of the Moors. The Moors brought it from the east. They introduced it to some Jews, what we call Jews, in northern Africa and also in the Iberian Peninsula. And they used the Star of David as a emblem when they went to war against the Europeans. Okay. And it represented the unity between the Moors and the Jews fighting against the Europeans. So it was introduced to the Sephardim by means of the Moors, and it was put on the shields that they would use as they went to war against the Europeans. And that Star of David then, since it was adopted by the Sephardim, was later adopted by the Ashkenazim and used for other things, other subliminal messages by way of symbols for something totally different than what we're trying to ascribe it to today. There's no archaeology in Iron Age 1 and Iron Age 2, A, B, etc., where Israelite sites are at in Palestine, where we have the Star of David, because it was not part of the culture at that time. It was not introduced into the culture until much later on. All right. So that's my position in regards to that. All right. Shout out to Malaya. Shout out Malaya. Thank you for watching Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. This is Divine Prospect giving you a shout out on behalf of Zaya Ban Yahawada, who is an avid watcher. Shout out to your dad. Your dad is an awesome person. I'm glad he's having you watch this. So shout out to you for watching. We love you. We appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you on this channel again. All right. Anybody else want to shout out? Hit 1. I give y'all a shout out. If you want me to shout out somebody for y'all, just hit 1. I'll shout somebody out for y'all. All right. But I'm about to go. So the Most High Child, Shayarala, can you email that to me? Shout out to Curtis Brown, Malak Lorenzo, Master of Desky, anytime is Azaya. So anytime BA the student, no problem. So the Most High Child, can you email that to me? I appreciate the email out to me. Thank you for the shout out, Kalila. So DJ Soup asks, what award do you think you're going to receive from Sonetta? I don't know if it's definitive. Sonetta is a little bit biased. More than likely, he has 2 awards for the Israelite community. One is Best Scholar. The other one is Best Debater. I think he's going to give Best Debater to Captain Tazariak. And I think he's going to give Best Scholar to Zion Lex, right? So if he does, that's fine. It's no bother to me. I'm okay whenever anybody wins in our community, because both those brothers put in a lot of work for the community. So they deserve the awards if they win them. The only award that I would get will probably be Best Scholar, would be the one that I'll be a runner-up for. I'll be honored if I do get it. If I don't get it, I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? You know, the other 2 brothers definitely deserve accolades for the amount of work that they put in for the community as well. You know, but if I win it, it'll be a blessing, you know what I'm saying? And I'll give it back to the community, you know what I'm saying? So, no, he said that, but then he kind of like switched it up. But, you know, he had another live stream video when he's talking about the awards. And he said that, you know, he'd have to give the edge over to Zion, give the edge to Zion over me. And that's who he would give the Scholars Award to. But he said debating, he would give it to Zaria. Now, I thought he was going to give the debating to Zion and give me the Scholar Award. That's what I was under the assumption of. But it may or may not play out that way. And either way, it's okay. I'm all right with that. I was just grateful to get an award back in November. That was definitely a blessing. And if it carries vicarious victory for the community, you know what I'm saying? So I was blessed to even receive that. You know, I didn't think I deserved it, but I got it. And I thank the Most High for that. But if I get another award, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to humbly accept it. And I'm going to dedicate it back to the community because you guys helped me to be who I am today. You understand what I'm saying? Shout out to Terrence McWilliams. Shout out to Natsureem 10. Shout out to Haashaba. DM on IG. Oh, okay, I'll check it out. The Most High Shout. I'll check it out. I'll check it out right before I go to bed. All right, so we had 2 hours and 19 minutes. Y'all love this timer, man, but I can't share my screen. You know what I'm saying? And I think after a while, it gets monotonous if you just watch me for a whole 2 hours. I don't know. But it's all good. All right, family. So any last questions or comments? Because I'm about to shut down. I know there's 66 of you online right now. Hit the thumbs up button. If y'all haven't hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up button. If you're enjoying this, please hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying this. So this video can go at the top of the search when people want to go back and watch it. Thank you to all, man. Y'all, thank you, man. Y'all guys is the best, man. I appreciate that. Thumbs up is just jumping up. I appreciate that, family. Also, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Subscribe to this YouTube channel And also click on the bell icon so you can get notifications every time we go live. You know what I'm saying? And man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all, family. If y'all missed it, go back and look it up. I'm also going to talk about Staros because a lot of people translate that as being cross when that's incorrect. And we have other terminology in the text that help us to figure out what that is. And it's not a cross. That received a later connotation by Christianity. All right. But we'll get into that as well and look at the word Staros and compare it in other Greek texts as well as intertextually in regards to the New Testament. All right. Pieces of me, no problem. Anytime. I'm here to serve y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm always a servant to you guys first before anything else. You guys support me, man. And man, thank y'all, man. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. I appreciate it, man. You know, sometimes it stirs me up a lot inside, man, when I know that y'all supporting me, man. And I definitely appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you also for the thumbs up, family. Y'all just skyrocketed those thumbs up. I appreciate that. And that's that, family. Yeah, you won't be able to, but as soon as I end the live stream, y'all can go back to it and check it out. I think Shawnee, my moderator, she might be asleep. She is usually on. I sent her a message. She didn't respond, so I think she's asleep. And it's okay. She deserves to get some rest, so it's all good. Shout out to Malak Lorenzo Amadi's support his music ministry. That's the brother who did that track that I played earlier for y'all, and he's going to make more tracks for the Kingdom and also tracks for Kingdom Harbinger Ministries as well. So shout out to him for that. Anybody, if you got a business or a ministry, put it in the chat. Let me shout y'all out real quick so I can go to sleep. All right. Put it in the chat. Let me shout y'all out real quick. If y'all got something good going on for the community, you got a business or whatever, let me know. Let me give y'all a shout out. If you want me to shout out a family member, a friend or whatever, a spouse, put it in the chat. Let me shout y'all out real quick while I'm in a good mood before I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I say no to trees. You crazy. All right. It's your last chance to get a shout out before I end this off. So thousands of people in YouTube land can check it out, family. All right. If you got a business, you got something positive going on, let me know. Let me shout y'all out real quick. You got a family member, a child, or whatever you want shouted out, let me know. Also, for those of y'all who want to give a last-minute donation, you can do so. Really? No, Mr. Casanova, you cannot post your Christian Mingle account info. Sorry, I'm not doing that. He's crazy. He's crazy. Yes, I'll pray you out. Shout my mama out. Shout out to Kalai Israel's mom. You got an awesome daughter. She's been supporting me since we met, and I appreciate that sister as well. So shout out to Kalila, or who I call Kay. So Mom Dukes, if you're watching this, shout out to your daughter. Shout out to you. Thank y'all for your support. All right. True. Shout out to Mr. Black Culture. I'm just now seeing you on there. Shout out to Curtis Brown. Shout out to his brother Carlos Brown. Shout out Carlos Brown. Shout out to Shua. Yes, your more son. Shout out to Shua. Thank you for watching. We love you. We appreciate you, man. Shout out to Divine Energy Studios. That's Malak's music ministry right there. He said, do the lecture on prayer and meditation. I got you. I think a lot of people have been asking about that, man. A lot of people. I'm telling you, it will change your life, man. It is so practical. It will change your life. So I'll definitely do that. Shout out to Tanika West. Shout out to Kiefer, my moderators. Shout out to DJ Soup, who's always live in the chat as well. Anybody else need a shout? If you need a shout out for a business, for a family member, a friend, whatever, hurry up. Hurry up. You got like 2 more minutes. And I'm about to shut down. 2 more minutes. I'm about to shut down, man. Yeah, the mods is always on point, man. You know, Kiefer, Tanika, and Shawnee, man. They're always on point, man. So shout out to my mods, man. I appreciate them. And shout out to everybody in the group, man. All y'all are mods in the group, man. Yeah, and don't y'all enjoy when you can have a chat where the energy is positive, man, where people showing respect? You know what I'm saying? This is the type of energy I want to bring with me everywhere I go. And I want each and every one of y'all to exhibit and reflect the same type of energy. Because the more that we can keep a unified front, the harder it will be for our enemies to tear us down. Because even a lot of us have disagreements, but you see how respectfully we We speak on it. We share it. Nobody can touch the unity that we have here, family. Nobody can touch it. And if we see anybody that tries to come in here to be a snake or tries to cause division, we're going to rail on them and get them up out of here, because we're not trying to support that negative energy. I have no problem if you critique my work. I don't have no problem if you critique what I say. Make sure it's professional. Make sure it's respectful, and we will leave your critique up there. I have no problem with your critique. But when it becomes derogatory, ad hominem, and things of that nature, then it has to go. It has to go. All right? So again, family, make friends in this chat. You know, this is family right here. The same people that come in here, they break bread with us. They stay with me at late night. They support. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Sirius B. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to Micah Israel. Shout out to the Most High. The Most High, man. The Most High. That's the coach, man. We just on his team. You feel me? Shout out to the Most High. We never forget the Most High, man. I love you guys, man. I love you guys. You know, I love you guys. Thank you. Nisi's Pieces. Glory be to the Most High. She says she's new to this, but she's catching on quick. And I appreciate that. Shout out to B Banks, man. Anytime, I'm here to serve y'all, man. That's what I'm here for. So, you know, it is what it is, family. You know, we're going to win, man. We're going to take as many W's as we can. Even if we get an L, we never lose. You feel me? We never lose. And the word I want to leave y'all out with is that the best solution is you. You are the solution. And change cannot come unless you get involved. And make sure that whatever you are letting into your ear gates, your eye gates, and your mind gate is there to transform your character. Because your lifestyle is the best witness that you can give to anybody. I don't care how many words you speak, how many books you recommend, how much deep stuff you know. If your lifestyle is not transformed, it's not going to match up. And matter of fact, you're going to go contrary to what Yahushua said. All right. So make sure you keep an open ear, family, keep an open eye, and keep an open mind. But make sure you have a filter on, so that way any old thing can't come up in you. All right. And do some spiritually transmitted disease. Leave one right up in you. All right. So be careful with that. Be careful. Because you can be harboring an STD and not even know it. You know what I'm saying? So let's be mindful, family. Let's be mindful. All right. So shout out to the family. I was asked to pray out, so I'm gonna pray us out. Quick prayer, pray us out. And man, thank y'all for the support, man. Thank y'all for sharing this video. Thank y'all for jumping on and watching. Thank you for the input. Hope you enjoyed the content that I left on it. And let me pray us out before we get to the 2 hour and 30-minute mark. All right. So, dear Abya, we thank you for allowing us to have another day, another Saturday night live session, family, with the family. Thank you for allowing peace, tranquility, shalom to be in the chat room. Thank you for allowing everybody to be better acquainted with one another, being respectful, giving their input, even their critiques, Most High Yah. I pray that all the words that I said was ordained by you, Most High Yah, that is fulfilling, that is uplifting, it's empowering, equipping, and encouraging to the people out there that is on the receiving end, Most High Yah. Most High Yah, you have me on the higher scrutiny as a teacher, Most High Yah. It was a task that I've never asked to do, Most High Yah, but because I did run away from it and try to avoid it, you saw me fit in order to do it, Most High Yah. Allow the words that I speak to be seeds sown onto soil that's on the hearts of the people that are hearing, Most High Yah. Let them have an ear to hear, Most High Yah, so that way their lives may be transformed. That they may share this information to others who may need it, Most High Yah. I pray that you will allow shalom and peace into the home of those who are here. Touch their bodies of any ailments that they may be suffering from, Most High Yah, so they may be healed, Most High Yah. Give them a new testimony in order to give to others, Most High Yah. Allow their lives to be the testimony and the testament of your righteousness, of your goodness, Most High Yah, of everything that you are. We want to reflect, Most High Yah. We want to continue to come together in unity, Most High, with a spirit of love, Most High Yah, for you, for your word, Most High, for the assignments that you've given each and every one of us, Most High Yah. I pray that nobody that is here feels insignificant, Most High Yah, but they understand the role that they play is just as great as me or anybody else, Most High Yah. Thank you for these people that you brought into my life that support this ministry, that support what I do feverishly, unfettered, undeterred, Most High Yah. Thank you for these pillars that you've sent to hold me up, to keep me lifted up, Most High Yah, and to keep me on this journey, even at times where I feel like giving up, Most High Yah, when I speak to these people who are your people, Yah, they keep me inspired. They keep me motivated, Yah. Continue to give me a heart for ministry to serve your people, Most High, Yah, to be a vessel for you and this earth, Most High, Yah. We pray that you will continue to provide the opportunities by way of chance and timing and give us the insight and foresight to see these things, Most High, Yah, so we may take advantage of the things that you are answering to us in our prayers, Most High. This is the appeal that we bring up to you, Most High, so that way it's a sweet savor into your mouth, Most High, the sweet incense into your nostrils, Most High. All we want to do is please you in our imperfect state, Most High. Perfect us, Most High, by your law, by the expansion of your law, by Yahushua, Most High, by every resource that you've given us, Most High, so that way we may follow the Zedek, the righteous path, Most High, so that we may be a beacon of light to those who are lost. Most High, allow us to continue to be that lighthouse, Most High. Allow us to keep our lamps unhidden, Most High, so that the world can see and that we can give glory to you, Most High. We surrender it all to you, Most High, and you get all the honor, glory, and praise. We love you. We thank you. We honor you. We appreciate you. We pray this in your name, Most High. Baruch Hashem. Yah. We love you. We thank you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right, family. Pray Divine get an iPhone X and see that this is your will for him to update his products to Apple for Israel. Oh, man. Y'all funny, man. I love you guys, man. I love you guys. Thank you guys for your support again. I appreciate y'all. Man, I'll see y'all on the next session. I mean, y'all forcing me to do this every week. So, you know, hopefully y'all win and I'll be able to see y'all next Friday or next Saturday, whatever day is convenient. I'll do the live stream. I'll try to start at 12 a.m. And end off about an hour earlier than what we on right now. But y'all, I know y'all not preparing for Christmas Eve tomorrow. So y'all not missing nothing. This is just an extra day off from work. If y'all didn't already have Sunday off. And Monday, Christmas is just an extra day off from work. And I'm going to work anyway because it's not my holy day. That's not my holy day. So I'm going to work on that day just to work on that day. But anyway, y'all, for those of y'all that got your Christmas trees up, we see y'all. Those of y'all who are not on here, well, you know you're preparing for Christmas Eve. We know it. We see y'all sipping on that hot cocoa with your Santa Claus hat on. We see y'all. We see that Christmas tree right behind y'all. We see y'all. We see y'all. Well, like I said, to him that knows to do good and do it not, to him it is sin. That's your own personal conviction, all right? So with that being said, family, I love y'all. Thank you for watching. I'm going to see y'all again. Peace. Shalom. And you know what it is. BP, family. Love you guys.